What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27.
Good as night, right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating a drink. Look a damn mess, just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no. What up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What's up? It's me. I'm back. I don't know what I was saying. I'm L Teddy 27. That's who I am. We're back for another review. This is going to be our review for Put a Ring on It, Season 1, Episode 2. It is entitled Past Mistakes. So I'm liking the show more and more. Tell you why a little later. All right, so the guys are going on their dates this week, okay? Ulysses is not going to go on his date because we know everything that's going on with Mimi and her dad and everything that they're going through. So they're not going to go on. He's not going to go on his date. So then we see Ashley at Hollywood. They're at home and he's getting ready for this date. Now, let me say this. Maybe it was the magical world of camera and angles. But y'all know me, I don't miss much. And I looked and I peeped. And there was much to be desired in the crotch region, Mr. Hollywood. All the muscles and teeth and waves or wig or whatever that is on your face and beard. You seem not to be lacking. You talked all last week about your big wee-wee, weenie, whatever you called it. Maybe you're a grower. I don't know. But you damn sure wasn't to show it in them underwear you had on. I'm just saying. Because you sure was bragging last episode. I'm just saying. Anyway, moving on. Ashley did seem on camera, and maybe she was playing it up for the camera, to be bothered by the date. By the fact that he was going on this date. And, she was trying to, do little things, wrinkle his clothes, mess up his hair and stuff like that. And I was like, immediately, I was like, well, why don't you treat him like you wanted him to treat you? Have the same energy for him that you wanted him to have for you. But we'll discuss more of that later. Mimi and Ulysses didn't have a meetup with Dr. Nicole. So Dr. Nicole tells no, I'm sorry, they don't meet up with Dr. Nicole yet. No, I'm sorry. Mimi and Ulysses are at home. Mimi is on the phone with her sister and the doctor. And the doctor's telling her all about what it means if they try to resuscitate her dad and his heart goes out. Because if you know anything about trying to bring somebody back to life, a lot of times you have to crack the person's ribs. You literally have to crack their ribs. And it does cause pain to, get the heart back going. And he was explaining all of that. And he was like, listen, your father's already frail. He's already, basically he's on a downward spiral. He's transitioning. And so he was like, it could really cause, specifically if it's a heart situation, it could cause more harm than good trying to resuscitate him. And so her and her sister have to have that conversation about what they're going to do now, whether or not they are or are not going to do that. So it was really hard for them. Now, I could tell that she wanted him, and she even said, listen, I need you to Ulysses that she needs him to be there with her and comfort her through this moment and so forth. Remember, he keeps saying, this is my best friend. Like, feels like it's his own dad, and he is having his own grief issues. He's having trouble grieving, and he needs comfort and support just as much as she needs comfort and support. And I don't think that at this moment, either one of them could offer the other person the comfort that they need because they're going through their own grieving process. People grieve differently, and just the attention and what the other person needs is just not being met by this. Not that they're not right for each other, but each one of them is going through their own thing with this grief, and it's hard for both of them, and it's hard for them to be there for one another when they're not fully themselves or they're going through their own grieving process. It was a lot. So then Dr. Nicole goes to go visit Shay and Michael. Now we get a lot of background information. We get down to some nitty gritties. Now we find out Shay originally is the one who, and I told y'all last week she was the problem. A lot of people try to make it like Michael. Nope, I told y'all last week Shay was the problem. So we find out that Shay and Michael got together. She ghosted him because she still had feelings for the ex or whatever. They got back together. She ghosted him and left him again. She did. And then they got back together. And now this is their third stint at it. So now I understand why Michael is like, girl, I ain't finna just up and marry you like that. Because I don't know if you finna just up and ghost me and leave again. Now everything is coming to light now. So I don't blame him for not committing to her. Why would he? I wouldn't. You didn't commit to him yet. He don't know that you committed to him. A mess. Shay thinks that basically, I mean, she basically thinks that with the snap of a finger that he could just get over it. Because you could see in the conversation with Dr. Nicole, she kept saying, okay, well, now that you got that out, are you over it? Well, that's not how feelings work. That's not how that happens. It's a process. And I don't think she respects the process. She doesn't respect how he feels or his emotions enough to allow him to get through that. She hasn't even really acknowledged them much. And I guess she believes that just acknowledgement of his feelings is enough for him to get over his feelings. It just doesn't work like that. And if I were him, I would have trust issues with her. I don't trust that you're committed to this relationship. You might ghost me again if I say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, fart the wrong way. A mess. Don't they live together? Child. It's no way I would have got a apartment with her or wherever they live. Anyway, Hollywood. Then we see him go on a date with this chick named Brencia. Now I'm glad they have to meet at the house because we saw how bad that went last time when Ashley's date met at the house. So I'm glad they met at the restaurant or whatever. And you know, it was a date, but I was trying to when they brought that food out, I was like, is that for just one person? Like both of them finna eat off these little ass bowls of food. Like I was like, that can't be for both of them. I don't know. I mean, you got money issues, Hollywood. I don't know, child. Make it make sense. Anyway, and also Brencia chick. So we just putting out there on date number one, first date, how much you like to get bust down, and then you try to follow that up with, oh, but I like to wait until marriage. Well, baby, you shouldn't start off by saying you like to get bust down. Do you like to get bust down, or are you waiting till marriage? Girl, make it make sense now. Help us out. Help me, God. Help me, Lord. Help me, Jesus. Anyway, I'm girl, I ain't understand that Brencia, but they had their date. It seemed cool. Michael then goes on his date with some Riley chick. Now, it didn't come off to me like they made really a connection. They didn't really show us a whole lot of their date either. And to me, if I'm being frank and honest, it seems like the show is really trying to highlight um Ashley and Hollywood and not highlight Shay and Michael because you see so much more to me of Ashley and Hollywood than you do Shay and Michael. I have my own thoughts on why. Now we'll see how the next few episodes go. Put a bookmark on that because I will. You can probably understand what road I'm going down when I say why they're highlighting. Keyword here, highlight. Why they're highlighting or featuring Ashley and Hollywood. But we'll talk about that if we see more of the same. Anyway, Hollywood, but they had their date. So then we see Hollywood comes home from his date. I Ashley was being authentic and honest. She really was putting her feelings out there for Hollywood. Hollywood, really, he really is. He couldn't handle what she was saying, and so he began to be dismissive. And he does this thing where he tries to intimidate her, and he tries to get all loud and real like, and all of this yelling and stuff, and it's just this whole intimidation thing that he tries to do. But what ends up happening is the person ends up shutting down and it drives you farther apart. So then we see Dr. Nicole goes to go visit Mimi and Ulysses. And during this whole conversation, Mimi kept harping on, and even to a certain degree, Dr. Nicole alluded to it, but she didn't come out and say it. But there was, I gathered the feeling that there, and even Ulysses, just went with it and was complicit with it, where it was like, Ulysses needs to be the man. He needs to stand up for me. My father's dying. I need to grieve. You need to be the pillar of strength. Hold me down, and so forth. Their feeling is so unfortunate that in many relationships, families, whatever, the husband, man, person with twig and berries is forced into this situation where they may be grieving too, but they're not allowed to show that grief. They're not allowed to be vulnerable. They're not allowed to grieve and cry and mourn and go through the entire full range of grief. They have to be strong. They have to hold the wife down. They have to hold the whole family down. All the while, attention is never paid to that that man's feelings, that man's emotions, and it can eat away at him, and it can tear him up, and it can cause quite a lot of emotional and mental damage on that man. Grief is a process that all human beings have to go through, and I just think sometimes it's just unfortunate that the men just aren't allowed to do that when they probably need to the most. But that's what I took away from that scene. So then the couples come together. First thing Dr. Nicole announces that Ulysses and Mimi are not going to continue with the show. My prayers and thoughts with them and their family. I don't know if the father already passed or if he's still ill. I hope nothing but the best for their family. But I would also hope that they could get some. And I hope that with the show, that the show didn't just cut them off and leave them. But I hope like maybe Dr. Nicole or some other, maybe they could recommend somebody that can give them grief counseling and help them get some therapy. Because I think Ashley and definitely Ulysses, both of them are going to need counseling to get through this time. Then we see Ashley in Hollywood. Now, Ashley is concerned that she wasn't as bothered as she felt she should have been when Hollywood was out on a date. She feels like maybe that shows that she's detached. And Hollywood started doing his thing, and they started going back and forward, and it was a whole thing. And let me say, the thing that draws me into this show is really Dr. Nicole. She is so good. Like the advice that she gives is so good. And I get the feeling that there's so much more that she says off camera that we don't see or hear. That is probably such great gems and such great advice. And I would love to hear and see the things that she says off camera in conjunction with the stuff that she says on camera. But both Hollywood and Ashley are at the point where they're not receptive to the other person's feelings. Hollywood is in his own bubble. All he wants to talk about is how he feels and have his feelings addressed. Ashley is in her own bubble. All she wants to is have her is tell how she feels and have her feelings addressed. They're not together in this in one bubble discussing each other's feelings and addressing each other's having each other's feelings addressed. So then we see Shay and Michael is talking to Dr. Hollywood. And I just left the conversation feeling like Shay is just, at this point, she's too young in the head. She's just too immature. I feel like Michael could be a good person. I think they probably have good sex. I think Michael would like the idea of being with Shay. I think Michael liked Shay in the beginning more than Shay liked Michael. I think what happened was Shay ended up not getting the guys that she wanted and settled for Michael. And I think it scared Shay when she saw that someone else liked Michael. And so now she wanted to snatch him up and say, nah, I guess he is cute. I guess he can be a catch. Let me snatch him up and lock him down. I don't think they're going to be together. I don't think, even if they do stay together, I don't see this working out. They're just not a good fit for each other. They got in this for all the wrong reasons. Michael, bruh, get out of Dodge. She ain't the one. And I think she ain't the one. And I really think Michael probably is using this show to look for somebody who could be the one. It ain't her. Get out of Dodge. Anyway, so then we find out Michael and Hollywood decided they're not going to go on their second dates with the people that they went out on. Hollywood say the girl ain't have enough booty. And Michael and Hollywood both say they didn't have that instant connection with the person. And, that is a thing. You like to, there's something about when you first see somebody the very first time, it's like, oh, yeah. There's instant, like, yeah. I remember the Bay. When the Bay first opened, when the first time I met the Bay and the door first opened, I immediately had not met him from Adam, did not know anything. But there was this immediate, like, I was, captivated. It was instant connection. So I know what that's like. And then toward the end of the show, I almost said Dr. Heavenly Lord, Dr. Nicole announces that there is going to be a new third couple joining this show, but the show then goes off before we get to see them. So we'll see them next week. I'm loving this show. And if anything, it's just to watch or listen to or hear Dr. Nicole's advice. She gives such good advice. I love all of her examples and analogies that she gives, because they're so timely. I'm interested in this new couple, see how that goes. I'm interested to see how this all pans out and so forth. That's all I got for y'all this week. Until next week, y'all let me know what y'all thought. Let's get in the comment section and do what we do. Good. And that's all I got. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. We out.